gonna get to it. You guys fired up, excited?
Yes.
Right? Fired up and stuff, and it's always a pleasure to be here, to be able to sit in front of you guys and talk and stuff. But my little 15 minutes is gonna be about recruits. I didn't put a PowerPoint together. I don't think I needed to. I was telling Cynthia, I was telling Swanson, I said I think it's pretty basic, right?
Yeah.
So in this business, we're in the recruiting business. It makes sense to you?
Yes.
You got to grasp that. You have to adopt the fact that you're in the recruiting business. So when you first joined this business, we talked about how you earn some passive income, right? That means that's the income that you make off the backs of the leaders, right? Or in your downline. The good thing about this business is that the reason why we recruit because it allows you to stay in the game. It makes sense to you? It allows you to stay in the game. It allows you to build a huge organization, therefore you can impact people's lives. If you're not recruiting, you're dying. Right? If you're not recruiting, you're dying. You know, I know Nick said it 100 times, it allows you to get into a new market. That's why you recruit, to get into a new market. And in that market, then you go up and you get into another market and another market because of the fact that their top 25 is going to allow you to get into the warm market. That makes sense to you?
Yeah.
Right? So if you're struggling in a business, it's because of the fact you're not recruiting enough people. You don't have enough activity in your business. That all comes from recruiting. Recruiting solves everything. You know, so for those of you who say, you know, I want to come in and make money and I want to just, you know, and I want to live a lifestyle, well, that comes from recruiting. Your personal pen, I say, your personal pen takes care of your bills. Your team is your lifestyle, right? So that's why you gotta always be direct recruiting. Direct recruiting is where it all starts. Because understand this, everybody joins the business, they won't stay, right? They won't stay.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Stuff. So I mean, that's why I always, you know, you can't get too high and too low on the thing, but you gotta understand that when you recruit somebody, you gotta assume they're gonna quit the business. And that's why you can't wait on people. That's why you gotta go out there, you gotta continue to bring in new people, because when you bring in new people, it does what? It brings new energy and stuff. So you wanna get fired up about your business, bring in new people. That's the key. So you know, if you get stuck in your business, you got to go get a new top 25. A new top 25 comes from what? Recruitment, right? If you want to make more money, it comes from what? Recruiting, right? So if you're where you are in the business now, it's because you're not running big enough numbers. If you're not happy with your business, because you're not running big enough numbers. You have to understand that WFG is a number business. That's it. It's a numbers business. And that comes from bringing more people in here, selling the dream. Right? Yeah. So I don't know any other way to build this business. I just don't. You know what I mean? I don't run enough. I don't recruit enough. I know I don't. I own that, and I accept that. But I understand that if you want to get bigger, you want to get bigger faster, you got to go out there and recruit. You can't be picky about who you're looking for. Recruiting is not about being selective. It's about going and having conversations with everybody, right? You got to talk to everybody because you don't know what that person may bring you, right? So you got to fall in love with the fact that we give everybody the opportunity to come be part of a great organization that changes people's lives, and that's through direct recruiting. It's how that works. That's it. You know, I don't even, you know, so you went to Momentum Monday. I think it was Carl LeBrun that had that book out. I mean, he talked about, you know, if you're not happy, recruit. You know, Nick talks about the money machine, right? It all starts with what? Direct recruiting. It all starts with direct recruiting, internal consumption. You're going out on appointments. That's the only way that you're going to spark an explosion in your business, by going to get 2 or 3 new directs a month. Minimum 3 a month. Reggie talked about one a week, right? One a week, one. So you got to buy into that. There's no other way around this business. If you want to get huge in WFG, you're going to have to recruit people. There's no ands, if, buts about it. There is no shortcut. There ain't no shortcut. So when you want to make more money, recruit. Right? When you want to become more energized, recruit. You want to get a bigger cycle, recruit. And you got to run the numbers. And our number is 10. Everything starts with 10. Everything starts with 10. So if you're not, you know, I tell Swanson, me and Swanson talk every day, and I said, look, man, if you're not shaking 10 hands a day, you're wrong. You're wrong. Now, them 10-hand conversations may not lead to something, but it's the potential of you becoming relevant. It's potential people understand that they become your spokesman, and therefore they will refer somebody to you that you can go out and then they may come to you and say, look, what you do, I want to do. Because you never know who needs what you do, but you understand everybody needs WFG. Yes. I'm a firm believer in that. I don't care. I think I told Nick I'm never going anywhere. I'm here. I love it. And when I talk to people, it's with conviction. What I do is better than you. I don't say what you do is terrible. I just understand that what I do is better than you. I understand that when I recruit you, I'm changing your life. I'm giving you an opportunity to go out there and impact millions and millions of people if you buy into it. That's the thing. You got to find people that understand what you do and they want to go out there and help you with your crusade. And that comes through direct recruiting. I keep going back. Everything comes to recruiting and them coming out and they understand they got to go recruit too. So when you bring somebody in your business, don't be afraid to tell them that you're in a recruiting business. I told Cynthia I don't want to talk to people when I first joined the business. She goes, you ain't going to talk to people.
You don't have to.
And you don't have to, right? And you don't have to talk to people. If you want to stay a marketing director, you know what I mean? There ain't no way to SMD unless you do direct recruiting. You got to build a team, right? All those things. It ain't going to change. So you got to sit in front of people and say, look, if you want me to help you to get to where you need to be, that comes from direct recruiting. That comes from you running the system. And anything other than that, they don't buy into it. And guess what? Next, move on and stuff. So guys, don't be afraid to recruit. Don't be afraid of no. No just means that that's one person quicker to saying yes to you and changing their lives and stuff. So with that said, I'm in on that. The guys, we got this guy that's coming up right now, and this guy drops nuggets. I mean, I've known this guy for 5 years now, and from day one, you know, he's done nothing but want to bring value, help people build their business. He's the go-to guy. You call this guy. He's got every answer. I call him. You know, I appreciate him. He's about one of the most valuable person in his business. He's fired up, motivated, a good example, a good leader. And you know, Matt, I really adore you. And that's a strong word, because it's a strong word. But I do. Sometimes you don't read yet, right? But you know, guys, you gotta love it. You gotta love Matt Chang. Don't forget what Cynthia. You gotta love this guy, man. I do. I mean, you know, sometimes I don't, but I do. You know what I mean? You gotta respect Matt Chang in his business, and that's why when I said before I put the terms back, it will smash Matt Chang, right? But Matt, look, man, I appreciate you and stuff, guys. Let's get up for this guy. Let's give him a round of applause. Let's bring him up here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just fired up?
I think yes. The bang brought the door out, but hey, you know, my bang over there.
It is an honor and always a pleasure being in front of you guys. And, you know, just like what Arthur's saying, every single time I come up here, I want to bring as much value to you guys as possible. Because we're here to learn and grow, aren't we?
Yes.
And just imagine when this room gets to a point where we can't fit in here, and we have to go to separate nights and separate Saturday mornings.
No, what's like that happens? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Not later.
And that's what we want, because that means a lot more of you guys are out in the field making money, changing people's lives, right? And just once I just figure out, remember I was telling you I was going to wear this pin for you, right? You guys notice I wear different lapel pins. This one is a little spray can that says "Bad Vibes Repellent," right? It's funny. But let me ask you guys. What book are you reading? Are you constantly improving yourself, right? Your income seldomly exceeds your personal development. It means if you're not personally developing, you're not becoming a better person, you're not becoming more valuable to the marketplace, you can't expect to go out and make 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 grand in a month, right? And if your value is very high, that's the reason why you make a lot of money out in the field, right? Or that's the reason why, also too, your self-development also helps you recruit, just like what Arthur was talking about, right? If it wasn't for WFG and becoming a better person, I wouldn't have recruited my wife, right? In a sense, if you really think about it, because if I didn't become the person that that had to be at her level, I would have never met her or attracted her into my life. Does that make sense? And that's why your self-development is so key to, everything that you do. I'm reading 2 books at once right now. Switch to this way. Okay. I'm reading 2 books at once right now. The first book is already been in my reading schedule, called The Sales Bible by Jeffrey Gitomer. It's a very good book. The section I'm getting ready to read right now, or that I'm reading right now, is called The Book of Closing. Funny. It's actually what I'm talking about today, right? But the other book I'm reading is a gift that I received from Nick earlier this year for my birthday, is Make Your Bed. Now, you guys have probably heard that speech, Make Your Bed, every single day. And it makes so much sense. I'm going to read you guys a couple of things. One of the chapters in this book starts off with, if you want to change the world, don't be afraid of the circus. Now, when he talks about the circus, is basically when you're training to be a Navy SEAL, if you're not up to par, you got to do extra work after everything's said and done. And the whole purpose is to make you stronger. One of the paragraphs in here says, in life you'll face a lot of circuses. So meaning you're going to go through struggles. You're going to go through ups and downs. You're going to go through people saying, oh, it's one of those things that doesn't work. Oh, you're so obsessed with money. Why are you obsessed with money? Why are you doing that thing? Right? He says, in life you will face a lot of circuses. You will pay for your failures, but if you persevere, if you let those failures teach you and strengthen you, then you'll be prepared to handle life's toughest moments. That's one of them that really stood out. Here's the other one. And of course, because we're in WFG, someday you're going to be a leader. You're going to lead a team, right? You have to be a person of influence. True leaders must learn from their failures, use the lessons to motivate themselves, and not be afraid to try again or make tough decisions. You know, sometimes in life, how many of you guys are parents? Okay. Sometimes in life, you got to make some pretty tough decisions when it comes to your kids, don't you? And even for me, because I know I'm going to be a dad, I know I have to make those decisions someday too, right? Sometimes it's like, and you look at WFG, and I'm just relating this to just life in general. I mean, how many times have you ever told your kids, we can't go there, we can't afford that, right? Happens, right? And that's the beauty of WFG. It's you work your ass off so you can say, yes, we can go there. Yes, we can do that. Yes, we can afford that. Yes, I can buy you that, $20 toy, whatever, right? That's the beauty of here. But because we are in sales, that is something you guys have to understand. Where's my clicker? Okay. So my topic today is sales, closing, and transitions. And by the way, it's something you do every day. Every single day, right? By the way, do we have to sell you on why you have to be here?
No.
No, it's a completely voluntary army, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
But we've sold you on why it's important to be at BPMs. Right? Like when I first sat down with my cousin and Nick, they said you can't miss BPMs. And I missed my first 4 Saturday BPMs because of work. I was trying to figure out how to get out of it. And when I walked in one day, my 5th week in the business, I said, all right, Matt, we don't need you Saturday mornings, we need you to close. I'm like, cool. I never really didn't miss any meetings. The only time that I've actually missed a BPM is because either we're doing something with a company or it's coming out both ends. That's the only other time I've ever missed a BPM. Seriously. Right? But other than that, even if I'm not feeling sick, I'm still here. There are days where I've come in, I'm sick, and I'm still here. Like I just say, I don't want to shake your hand, I'm a little sick, right? But let's start with some basics. Like I said, I'm huge on self-development. These are some of your key core books you want to read. Okay. By the way, some of those books, like even if you took out these 5 books right here, if you're in any sales profession, just in general, no matter what product or service, those other books will still apply. Right? I've read Think and Grow Rich now at least 5 or 6 times. Right? And then we study it when we were in Elite Academy or Inner Circle. right? And of course, that talks about your goals. You know, what are your goals for this month? What are your goals for the rest of the year? What are your goals for 5 years out, 10 years out, right? And being in sales, you gotta project that. You gotta know what you're after, right? And you wanna be able to communicate with people. That's what we talk about, how to win friends and influence people. You're gonna be leading people someday, so you wanna get as many hands on different leadership books. I highly recommend pretty much anything on John C. Maxwell, right? One of the first books that Nick had told me to read, 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class. Life gets tough. It really does. I'll tell you guys, if it wasn't for that book and being at BPMs, I probably could have quit the business a long time ago when I was a lonely only for almost 4 years. But it's my mental toughness that kept me in the game. Because I knew, where else am I really gonna go that I can go make 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 grand in a month without a degree? Well, most of those people with degrees can't even do that. Right? And then of course, since you're in sales, you wanna learn how to maximize your sales skills. Sales is just another skill you learn. By the way, everything you learn in WFG translates into everything else you do in life. Right? Like Melissa talks about her 2 other sons, Damien and John. Everything they learn in WFG is part of the reason why they make 6 figures at their current jobs right now. It's just too bad they're still paid on W-2s.
No.
Oh, well, they're
Not
1099.
John.
Oh, it's straight 1099. Okay.
Still.
Yeah. But then you start talking about books just in our industry, right? We talk about retirement planning, life insurance, and annuities. You want to make sure you get the Patrick Kelly books. And then learning, don't knock over my camera, and make sure you're learning about just the industry in total. You want to read books from Tony Robbins, who's, a lot of people know who Tony Robbins is. He's got 2 very important books, Money Mastering the Game, where he interviews the 50 wealthiest people in America. And he takes what they talk about and puts into a basic formula to build what they call an all-weather portfolio. Right? But not only that, reading books also elevates your verbiage when you talk to other people. Right? When you're talking to doctors, lawyers, how are you speaking to them? I'm talking about, what's your portfolio like? What have been your profits? What have been your losses? Right? What kind of fees are you paying in your portfolio? Can I help you minimize the fees but maximize your return? Right? These are all things you learn through reading, but also you just associating with the right people, right? But
Real
now,
quick, Matt?
yes.
I was just going to mention, you might want to add 2 books to this group. Is the Expect to Win from
Yep.
Lonnie Holm, and then I think everybody needs to get their hands on The Truth of WFG.
The G by Steve Siebel that just came out. Yep. Yep. You were right. I just couldn't find pictures of the other one just yet. Right. Now that it's already out, now you can really start adding things.
Yeah.
Right. But now let's really get into it. You're in sales. Get over it. You guys have heard me say this before. You're in sales. But you have to remember, sales is a part of your life. Everything. Right? Everything you do in life is sales. Whether that's dating, getting a lower APR and buying a car, getting your kids to do what you want them to do. Right? Perfect example, right, is I correlate to dating all the time. You know, I had to sell my wife on why she should date me. And I had to continuously sell her on why she should continue dating me and eventually be in a relationship with me. And then I have to keep selling her on why she should marry me someday, right? And I have to sell her even after she marries me to have my child, right? But by the way, everything you do, right? Everything you do getting your way is your commission. Adding that, adding your girlfriend, your fiance, your spouse, having a kid, right? Getting a new client, getting a new recruit. When you gain a new friend, you get married, you get the house at the price you wanted, recruiting a new agent or adding a new client. These are all forms of commissions. Being in WFG and having all you guys as a second family, that's a commission. Right? A lot of you guys have been at my house before, multiple times. Barbecues, pizza, just hanging out. Right? We go over to the comedy club, we go over to Nick's, we do different things. Right? Which actually, that reminds me, we need to arrange a picnic with the entire hierarchy. I forgot to mention that, right?
Softball.
But getting your way is your commission. right? Like Nick and Swanson and you know, Anthony, they all work out together and they're getting fitter. That's their commission. Is there a lot of pain involved? Yeah. I see Nick, there are times when he lays down on his couch like, dude, I can't move. Right?
Every Sunday.
In a career or business of sales, it's the lowest paid easy work, but the highest paid hard work. The harder you work, the more money you're gonna make. Plain and simple. Right? Compared to at a traditional job, right? Compared to a traditional job, no matter how hard you work, you already know how much you're getting paid.
Right.
Even if you work 10, 12 hours a day, you're like, crap, I'm only gonna make, you know, $2,000 in the next pay period, no matter how hard you work. Right? Some of you guys that were here for that training yesterday, I have, 12 para appointments next week. Unfreaking real. And I was telling that to my wife, she's like, you're gonna be freaking tired when you get home. Yeah. Because some of these people are high-end professors, economics teachers, scientists. Because you know, you see what they do for work. Some are in marketing. I always read one of them. One of them's marketing. Oh, dude, one of them is the head athletic director. So imagine I get him. I'm gonna get all the rest of the staff. So we'll see how that goes, right? Sales has a low barrier of entry. Think about how you got involved in WFG. You don't have to get a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or a PhD in business or economics.
You didn't even have to have a diploma.
Yeah. Or you, like what G says, he's like, I got a barely high school degree. Right? Barely. But just imagine being in WFG. It's $100 for your AMA, $30 for your course, right? It's $180 for the exam, or for the flash app, $80 to book your exam, another $60 for your fingerprints, another $20 for your CEs. It's like $400. Man, when I came in here, I only had $50 in my freaking name when I was 26. That's the reason why I couldn't sign my AMA on Friday. Or that Tuesday night I came to a BPM. I paid that Friday, I was only making $1,800 a month at Costco. Right? Imagine being a grown-ass man, only $50 to my name when I'm 26. You go from that a month to $1,800 a cycle. That's WFG. That's WFG. That's all because I learned how to get good at being in sales. That's all it is. Right? I just stuck around, I was a lot more persistent, and that's the reason why I'm still here today. So you look at it, sales has an unlimited income potential plus control of time compared to a traditional job career that has income limitations and no control over time. There's a quote I posted on social media a while back. The only flexibility you have in your schedule is outside your job. And that's true for a lot of people. And imagine, even if you made plans outside of your job, sometimes your job says, Henry, sorry man, you gotta stay for an extra 2 hours. That screws up all the rest of your plans. Yeah, right, I've done that before too. Now imagine, I worked at Costco for almost 5 years, never called in sick, always early, stayed for overtime, would come in on my days off. And I work merchandise, so I come in at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'd stay till 2, I'd go home, rest, and by like 6 or 7 o'clock, I'll get another phone call, hey, we need you to come work overnight tonight. I'd show up at midnight. I work from 12 to 8:30. Bonkers. Especially during Christmas time, worst time of the year to be in retail. Hated it, right? Missy knows, perfect, right? But now, what I want to focus on today is not just the mindset of being in sales, because that's something that you should always be aware of. If you guys follow me, because everything you do, like when you go out and eat, and you're trying to pick, and you're going with a group of your friends, you have to debate, okay, where do you guys want to go eat? Right? You're trying to sell them on why we should go to like Hot Dog Shop or Thai Basil, or we should go to Hot Dog House, whatever, right? The Dog House, Yard House, whatever. But then also too, then somebody says, well, we should go do this, and then even then when you get to the restaurant, they're selling you what to eat. And the price is non-negotiable, which is the crappier part.
Yeah.
Right? That's them selling you. Right? But part of sales is also transitions and learning test closes. So if you read anything by Tom Hopkins, this is what he talks about, right? So as an example, in a KTP, a few key phrases, right? When we're getting ready to transition over into the actual financial education part, what we're gonna go over next are 2 financial concepts: how to make your money work harder for you, and how to pay less in taxes during retirement. Sound good? What you guys don't realize, that's a transition. These are little key phrases that you will start to pick up on. Now you guys are like, oh yeah, I heard Nick say that over and over and over again. Oh, I've heard Matt say that over and over and over again. I've heard Reggie say that over and over and over again. These are so key to everything you do. Even when you're, you know, and you relate back to dating, it's like, hey, the reason why we should go here is I think you'd really enjoy the view. Right? That's a transition to get somebody to go where you want them to go. Also, another one is from the Rule 72 to the 3 tax boxes, right? We're halfway done, but since we're on the subject of money, what's the biggest enemy to your money? That's also a transition. It's in a sense, you have to think of transition as the pre-frame to the next part that we're getting to, right? Now, when it comes to, or here's another one, not a trick question, would you rather pay your taxes now, later, or never? Mm-hmm. That's another transitional question. By the way, that's also a test close. It's a small test close, because remember, it goes small close, small close, small close, big close when you write that. Right? Because when they say, well, I never want to pay taxes, okay, then you already know I'm going to write an IUL. Right. But you have to sell the value on why the IUL makes more sense. Right? Like Fareed texted me, was that yesterday? She's like, hey, do you have any extra material I can send with my clients because they're like on the verge of canceling their policy? I was like, here, use this. By the way, I asked her, did you ever use the GE proxy statement? She's like, no, where is that? I'm like, it's in the KTP you already have. Have you guys seen the GE proxy statement?
Yes.
It shows how much all the CEOs and the executives are getting compensated, and then what they do with the money, right? The CEOs putting in $453,000 into a life insurance policy while only putting $9,000 into the company 401k. By the way, when somebody says, no, I don't want to do an IUL, and I show them that, so you're telling me you're making more money than this CEO and you're smarter than the CEO. They're like, well, no. So obviously the CEO knows what he's doing with his money, doesn't he? They're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense if somebody's making $20 million, putting in $500,000 into a life insurance plan, right? That's all little closes to get them to realize this is the direction you need to go. All those little questions you ask is getting them to go in the direction you want them to go, right? And even like, for me, like whenever my child comes, it's like now I can really practice, because when your kids are young, don't they close you on getting their way?
Yes.
Like they will kick and scream and fight with you until they get what they want. Except for Nick's like, not in my house. Right?
They do. Literally.
Or even during a one-on-one. You know, this is one that I still always use every single one-on-one that I learned from Nick watching him do one-on-ones is, how would you feel if you could help your family and friends get their finances in order? How do you think they would feel about you? It's another small test close, another transition.
It's a test close to get them to become a client, not only become a client, but become an associate with it.
Right, because when you talk about the 6 areas that we help families in, everybody needs that. Everybody needs help managing their expenses, right? They need help getting life insurance. They need help getting out of credit card debt. They need the emergency fund. They need help with the retirement planning, outpacing inflation. They need estate preservation, right? And like when I had Sergio in here, he's been very receptive with you guys. Whatever you guys need, you can just call him on his cell phone. You know, I just called him the other day because I had a referral for him because one of my friends is going through a pretty nasty divorce. I'm like, who's your representative? She's like, well, I started all the paperwork on my own. I was like, no. Go talk to my attorney. Even though I know you're strapped for cash, he'll work something out with you. He's a very good friend of mine, and guess what? He's helping her out right now. because she has her son, and just, I had lunch with her the other day, I was like, the environment your son's being raised in right now is not perfect. You need to get out of this situation. You need to finalize your divorce, get it done, and move. You know what I mean? So and even here, that's why we talk about our environment being so important. That's why we want a lot of, even though some of the newer agents, they're in training, they're in their orientation class, even for you guys, it's like, we want you here. Shoot, I'm here at like 7:45, 8 o'clock. I already got everything going, music's already, like Lupe walked in, I was getting ready to start turning on music. Well, actually, I had music on in my office, but not in here, right? But it's all environment, right? And that's me telling you guys on why you should be here as early as possible, right? Like, I get, some of us have kids and stuff like that, I get that, but it's a Saturday morning, this is something that's a reoccurring event every Saturday, every Tuesday, right? You gotta plan ahead. Like, if you looked at my schedule, now, there's like baby appointments already scheduled out another 2 months in advance. Because I know doing, all these other appointments plus the team, it's like, I gotta make sure everything's already planned ahead of time, right? Here's another one. Now we talked about all the different ways you can make money, and let's talk about all the fun stuff. Right, so when we're talking about the compensation page, right, we go through the 250 example, 3,000, 30, 45, 55, 62, 80, talk about residual income, the active money management, building a team, bonus pools, overrides. This is just say, this is all the money, but now let's talk about all the fun stuff. Right? Like some of you guys, you haven't gone on some of the trips that Nick has held, like when we do like the cruise in San Diego, the different dinners, like this is all the fun stuff. That's the stuff that you can use on your social media to attract more people. By the way, you guys using your social media, that is a sales process too. I actually just got hit up by a guy, and you just talked to somebody in Cleveland, Ohio, didn't you? Mm-hmm. I used that story. A guy just hit me up that's doing real estate in Cleveland, Ohio. I was like, hey, I'm interested. Can we talk a little bit more? I was like, yeah, actually, my CEO's getting another guy in Cleveland, Ohio started. What's the best, number and day and time to call him? Your social media is a sales too. Yeah. And using social media, what like Jenna was talking about yesterday, for those of you guys that were here, she talked about there are people that have actually text messaged me or called me and saying, hey, thanks, I needed to hear that. I'm glad you posted that. I was having a really tough day, and what you posted made me get through the day. Say, awesome, man. Is there anything else I can help you with? Sometimes some of these people, they just want somebody to talk to. A lot of people are just stuck in their little cubicle 9 to 5. Monday through Friday, really don't talk to anybody, right? But just you being able to use your social media too is just another way for you to sell to the world what you're doing to attract more people, right? So that's another way. Now let's talk about closing just in general. Some of these you've seen, some of them you haven't, okay? There's a total of 25 of them. So you can't write them all fast enough, just take pictures. It'll be easier. Okay, that's why I'm just pre-framing it.
Okay.
Okay, first one. Would you rather pay taxes now, later, or never? Common one. What's the most important thing in your life? Your family, right? Doesn't it make sense to have protection of the most important thing in your life? Mm-hmm. Another one I like to use, guys, is, just imagine, okay, like Thomas, since Thomas is here, okay, Thomas. If you had an ATM machine that spit out money on a monthly basis, no questions asked, right, that would pay all your expenses, all your bills, take care of your family, wouldn't you buy insurance on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me kind of put it in a different perspective. Aren't you that ATM machine for your family?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So wouldn't you agree that you need to have life insurance to protect your family? Okay, you guys have probably, some of you guys have heard that before, some of you guys haven't.
Never heard that.
I like that one.
Right? Because you really think about it. I am that ATM machine to my family.
Yes.
You guys are that ATM machine to your family. You make sure you're properly covered. Right? Sometimes I get people like, oh, I don't know, I don't believe in life insurance. I was like, really? So I've used that example before. Right? It's kind of like saying, okay, but you buy insurance on a whole bunch of other things like your car, your house, your cell phone, right? You insure all these other material things, but not your income. Why not? You insure everything else. You should insure your income too, right? Or you probably heard the saying, what's your income protection plan look like? People, I mean, income protection plan. Yeah. What are you doing to protect your income that it still keeps coming into your family month after month, year after year? Right? Another one. Out of these 6 steps on how we help people, what would you say is the most important thing to you and your family at this time, if not all of them? So that's the 6 financial steps. Right? All of them are going to be. Right now this is pertaining to somebody who has a 401k or an IRA or TSP, 457, whatever. Right now you have no guarantees on your money. How do you feel about gambling with your retirement? Because that's exactly what people are doing. They're like, okay, whoop, put all my money inside of a 401k and cross my fingers, hope that it'll still be there. Okay, this year we've had, 2 small market corrections. They've already predicted the next bear market here very, very soon. Right? On average, we were in a bull market for about 7 to 8 to 9 years. We're due for a bear market. And by the way, they predicted that the next bear market's going to be worse than 2008. People are already jumping off of buildings because they're losing 40 to 50%. Imagine if they're saying it's going to be worse than 2008, people are going to be losing like 75%. Some of these people are going to be working at Walmart for a very long time. That's a scary thing, right? Would you rather temporarily protect your family or protect them permanently? Right? Good one to use on Primerica agents. Like, no, it's buy term, invest the difference. Really? Okay, if you're 30 years old, you get a 20-year term or 35-year term, you're 65. Do you know if your house will be paid off? Well, no. You might have kids still at home. Yeah, maybe. Will you have grandchildren? Yeah, probably. So what makes you think you don't need life insurance when you're in your 60s? That's you temporarily protecting your family. Right? Versus here being in WFG, since we can provide permanent insurance, whether that's an IUL, a UL, or whole life, family's always protected. I own the house, by the way, plus all the equity. Right? So that's how, just little different things you gotta run through your head. It's like, okay, what can I say differently? Okay, this is a recruiting close. If I were to consider bringing you on board with the company, where do you see yourself starting out? Referral, part-time, or full-time? I watch Nick do this every single time. I need points. Referral, part-time, full-time. Every single time. And they say, part-time. Okay, great. Now, what do you hope to gain from doing this? And what are your biggest strengths that we could use here? Those are your 2 smaller closes that will lead to, okay, so what we need to do next is your AMA, it's $100. Do you have any challenge with $100 putting on a Visa or MasterCard? No, okay, done. Okay, do you feel comfortable giving advice to people you don't personally follow? I love some of the agents say, well, I want to wait becoming a client until I get licensed, all this stuff. Next. It's like you want to give the advice, but yet you don't want to own it. And I use the example all the time. I drive a Mercedes, but if I was selling BMWs, how many could I really sell? Not very many, if any at all. But if I'm selling Mercedes, because I drive a Mercedes and I own a Mercedes, it's easier to sell. Right? That's why you got to own everything that we do. IUL, term LB, IUL with LTC, Everest, right? If I can improve your family's financial situation, would you allow me to? How many times anybody has ever asked you that? You know who's asked me? WFG. Not Primerica, not PHP, not First Family Financial, not Freedom Equity Group, like all these other rinky-dink companies compared to WFG. They don't ask that. Right? What's more important to you, helping you build your company's wealth or helping your family build their wealth? Because at the end of the day, people that are working jobs, yeah, that's what they're doing. They're helping build a corporation. Right, like I look at my financial statements and I'm looking, okay, net worth's going up, asset worth's going up for the family. I mean, to be honest, I don't remember the last time I bought a pair of shoes. I think it's been like almost a year. Right? And Nick keeps getting on me. He's like, dude, just go spend the money on some Ferragamos from Nordstrom. Go spend the $400 or $500. Lifetime warranty. Sole gets worn out, just take it. They'll give you another pair.
That's awesome.
You know? Right. On a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you about changing your family's financial situation for the better? By the way, guys, sometimes these questions have to be asked. Because you know how good WFG can be, not only for your family, but imagine how good it could be for somebody else. You guys were on somebody else's top 25 list at one point, and maybe sometimes you've come back to the business, right, Jenny?
Yes.
But you were on Manuel Alcala's top 25
They
list.
sat down with my mom.
Yeah.
And I walked in and I said, "Oh my God, Mom, what are they selling you?" And then I sat down with them and they went over it with me.
And it
then
made
I came
sense,
on
didn't
board.
it?
It did.
Right?
It did.
And just like last time I talked to Manuel was like, I think right before I came full time, when we were still in Corona, right? It's been a long time. You guys got a picture of this already? Okay. Next set. When was the last time you sat down with a financial professional? 9 out of 10 families haven't. So guess what? You have a 90% ratio of closing somebody on why they should be your client. Right? Would you rather have 12 commitments a year or 1 commitment a year? Now, by the way, guys, this is a great question to ask, especially when you're in a KTP and you're asking them about their savings habits. Right? One of the things I like to do in my KTP, and you guys have seen me do this, is I ask them, hey, how well do you understand money on a scale of 1 to 10? And where are you saving your money currently? They'll say, oh, my savings account and my 401k. Okay, great. How well do you understand your 401k? Can you explain it to me? Okay, what's your balance? What's your balance in your savings account? These are all mental notes I'm making because knowing they have money saved, then I can say, hey, would you rather have 12 commitments a year or only make 1 annual premium a year? Have them front load a policy. Because if you have them front load a policy, it helps reduce the chances of you getting a chargeback. That money, then that's business that stays on the books. Your persistency is very, very important. You guys have heard me say this before. Your persistency is very important because when you start qualifying for all the WFG trips, they won't let you go unless you're at a 70% persistency. I mean, you keep a minimum of 7 out of 10 of your clients on the books, right? Sure, okay, good on time. Okay, if the money was right and it fit in your busy schedule, would you consider a part-time business? Something that G says all the time.
Yeah.
If the money are right and fit in your schedule, would you be open to, a side hustle or however you want to talk to somebody? Talk to a millennial, they'll relate more to a side hustle than anything else, right? And even now, some of our generations, like, hey, what's your side hustle, dude? Like, I know you're working that little job over at Costco or at ADT or at the staffing agency, but what are you doing on the side? Because I know you can't be doing all that to afford your lifestyle now, right? Like Gary Vee talks about that all the time. He's like, take a crap job that pays enough to pay all your bills, and then you work on a business so that it'll pay not only all your bills, but it'll give you the lifestyle you want eventually someday as long as you're working on it, right? There's only so much money to be made in a 9 to 5. There's more money to be made from 5 to 9, right? You come full time in WFG, then you got 9 to 9 every single day to go build a business. Are you familiar with IUL tax-free retirement plan? I have never met one person yet, 8 years out in the field, that says, yes, I know what an IUL is. 8 years out in the field, never met one person. Would you rather increase your savings commitment or reduce your goals in retirement? So for some of you guys that are doing some of these para appointments that we've been talking about, some of these people, they can still save more money. And you can get them to save more money. Like one of my clients, she said, hey, can I put more into my IUL so I can pay it off faster so that's one less bill I have to worry about? Absolutely. Some of these also get paid on a higher rolling target too, just so you know, Nick, because it's a patent life policy. Now that you know how your qualified plan works and how an IUL plan works, which do you think is better for you and your family? This is just another tool in your tool belt. Just another tool in your tool belt to help. When you pass away, other than life insurance, what else could provide your family $500,000 of tax-free money to cover all your liabilities? It's nothing. A lot of them think, oh, I have my Roth IRA, and I have my IRA, and I have my 401k, and all this. Okay. But you haven't paid tax on any of that. Have you? And they're like, well, no. Okay, then it's not tax-free. It's nothing compared to life insurance. Right? You're doing okay on your own. How much better would you do with a financial coach? You ever get some of those guys, oh yeah, I play the market and I pick all my own allocations in my 401k. Okay, that's good, right? Yeah, you made, say, 20%, but now what are you doing to prepare for the crash? What then? What other investments do you have that give you a guaranteed floor? Like, wait, there are investments out there with a guaranteed floor? Yeah. You ever heard of a IUL tax-free retirement plan? They're like, no. Okay, then boom. Another segue, right? Would you rather pay 2 to 3% of the cost of insurance to protect you and your family, or would you rather pay 35 to 40% to the government in taxes? That's your comparison between 401k and IUL, right? Is the safety of money most important to you, or would you rather just cross your fingers at retirement? Right? Because that's what some of these people do. Like, oh, I just have my 401k and I'm putting in $10,000 a year. So are you hoping it's going to be there? I kind of say it in that tone, so you're hoping it's going to be there when you hit retirement? By the way, guys, that's also a sales kind of thing. It's your body language and how you speak sometimes. Like, so you're going to hope it's going to be there when you do retire? Like, you remember what happened in 2008, right? He's like, then most people are like, yeah. Okay, here's another nugget. Okay, so you know what 2008 did? What have you done differently to prevent another 2008 from happening? Most people say, I haven't done anything. It's like, okay, well, then it's probably a good thing I'm here right in front of you. Let's change a few things. Let's diversify your portfolio so you're not losing as much money. You can at least protect some of your assets. If I can show you a way to turn your annual income into your monthly income, is that something you want to do? You hear that Nick say that all the time. You can't be scared to say stuff like this. You know, I used to only make like 20, 22 grand a year at Costco. Most I made in a month here is like 14. That's like really, really close to turning my annual income to my monthly income. If I can show you how to recover the losses in your retirement account with a free signing bonus, is that something you take advantage of? So if you're doing annuities, there you go. Some people are like, yeah, I want to recover some of my losses. Because if you know anybody with a 401k, they know they've lost money. I don't care what they say. No, my 401k is doing great. Awesome. What happened in 2008? I always go back to that. Do you think people get wealthy by having a job or by owning a business? That's a key one. Last one. Would you rather put your money in the bank or where the bank puts their money? Okay. By the way, how many of you guys know how to kind of answer that question? Anybody? No? I know Nick does. Because most people, they put their money with the bank, right? Right. But now the question is, where do you think the bank puts their money? Because obviously they're not investing in themselves. Where they're getting their money is they're putting it with insurance companies. So why don't I show you how to bypass the bank and put your money where the bank puts their money inside of a life insurance company. By the way, if you know anything about the Great Depression, right, 9 out of 10 banks closed during the Great Depression. You know how many insurance companies closed down during the Great Depression? 0. Insurance companies are designed to be very conservative, very solvent, just in case. By the way, they're mandated by the government to be so. That's why they have billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars in reserve, right? And something I use all the time when somebody asks, well, you know, how does the insurance company make sure they have enough money? Thing I learned from Nick, you look at it this way. For every dollar that a life insurance company has in force, they have a minimum, especially if it's a cash value policy, a minimum of $10 to back up that $1. So if you have a $100,000 policy, they got $1 million to back it up. That's like,
That's not all companies. I think that's what Transamerica said specifically, but that's
Transamerica.
pretty standard in the industry though too.
they have a minimum of at least $5 to $10 for every dollar in force. That's standard.
Just in cash reserve.
And then isn't it for, as far as the bank goes, for every dollar?
So when someone says like, you know, is this, you know, hey, what if the company goes bankrupt? You know, what if this? No, that's where you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, trust me.
That's your
the
like
last thing to go.
tool in the tool belt.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah,
there.
because, I mean, if somebody pays a couple $100 into their policy, and then the company gives them a $500,000,
Yep.
they gotta have that money.
Yeah, and guys, you also have to remember, because sometimes the objection of people, well, you know, how much money does a life insurance really have? I was like, to put it plain and simple, just based on one of the carriers we work with, Transamerica, if they had to pay out every single death claim right now, they'd still have over $500 million ready to go. If they had to pay out every single death claim right now. But by the way, is everybody all gonna die all at once, unless there's like big meteor that, you know, killed the dinosaurs?
Then who's gonna be asking for the money?
Yeah, exactly.
Two things left when the world ends. You know, it's life insurance companies and cockroaches.
Hey, cockroaches
Only
been
two
around
things
for a
gonna be
long
alright.
time.
Only two things gonna be left.
Now, one other thing that I've learned from Tom Hopkins and what I've learned from Nick are tie downs. Do you guys know anything about tie downs? These are words that are used at the beginning of a sentence. So like, doesn't it make sense? Shouldn't it be this way? Couldn't it, shouldn't it, wouldn't it, aren't they, don't you agree? Okay, but now here's the key to these. It's, don't use more than 2 to 3 in a presentation. Because people start to pick up on it like, okay, Arthur's trying to close me right now. Like, what is it? Well, okay, what is he trying to do? What is he trying to close me on? What is he trying to sell me? Try not to use more than 2 or 3 in a presentation. But remember, if a prospect asks questions, he or she is interested. The prospect just needs a small push to move forward to get recruited or to become a client. That's it. Right? It's just a little nudge. That's all they need. It could be one little thing you say or do that kind of just pushes them over the edge where they become your client or they're on your team. And sometimes some people, and to be honest, there are a lot of people, and I've done this before too, it's, I see the buying signal or the recruiting signal, I completely bypass it. The second somebody asks a question, they want in. There's interest. That's a buying signal. They want in. So you just have to kind of pick up on that, right? But here's the keys for today. Okay, because the guests are, Cynthia's done, so if you have guests, go ahead and take your guests. I think, tell them, okay. So, I was just telling this to Swanson, go a day, ask some questions, and be a closer. Somebody in there's got a guess.
I do.
Oh, it's
Jenny
yours?
does.
Jenny and her?
Oh,
Okay. You can tell Reggie to kind of wrap up.
Yeah.
Right. So here, go a day with just asking questions and be closer. So, I was just telling this to Swanson, just ask your kids a whole bunch of questions. Just ask them, right? Hey, what do you want to do tomorrow? What do you want to do today? Right? So if you guys are in this area, Eastvale, they're having a picnic in the park today, so they got like rides and fair, you know, all this other stuff. Just down the street, across from Silver Lakes. I think my wife and I might go there later today after it kind of cools down. Right? But get in the habit of asking a bunch of questions. Remember, your presentations are full of questions, not statements. Right? Have the mindset of a child. What does that mean? Be relentless. Kick, fight, and scream until you get what you want. Because I have to prepare myself for that when my baby comes. I'm just like, all I know that all the baby's going to do is just going to cry. I'm like, what do you want? Right? But they can't communicate. Right? But have the mindset of a child to get what you want out of life. Because that's something, you know, something that Tim Grover talks about in Relentless. It's, we're born relentless, but we're taught to relent. Or in a sense, we're born bad, but taught to be good, to conform with society. And that's why people, think we're crazy doing WFGs, because we're creative, we think out of the box, right? Yeah, we might be a little crazy, we might be a little pushy, but it's only to change other people's lives, right? But here's what I'm going to end with. That's a quote from Grant Cardone. Getting rich is a game of mostly offense, not defense. You got to go out and make those phone calls. You got to go out and get the recruits. You got to go out and get the clients. You got to be on the phone. You got to prospect. You have to do everything necessary. Not everything's just going to fall into your lap.
That's true. Richest players are scorers.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the top performers in any industry, whether it's sports or sales, right? You look in sports, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, they push themselves to the limits to get them to where they are today. And that's the reason why they make the most money in the freaking NBA. It's mostly offense. They're just after it every single day, right? And even today, I'll ask you, what are you doing today after the BPM? I'm playing offense today. I'm staying after to make phone calls and then go on prospect before my wife gets home, right? And I want to make sure that when I'm with my wife 100%, that I don't, even though I still think about WFG and I'm still getting text messages and emails, but that I'm with her 100%, and if she needs me to do anything, then I can. But it's because we're playing offense to have that life. And when you play that offense, that's the life you can give to your family too, and pass on for generation after generation, right? So, other than that, guys, I'm all done. Thank you so much.